Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Well, good morning, my beautiful people of YouTube. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We cover true crime, and we are covering the case of Emmanuel Haro, just a tragic case out of Yucaipa, Riverside County, California. And right now we have basically a no-body homicide. So there has been elevated charges for both parents since yesterday. As many of you guys know, they went to court and their arraignment was basically kicked back to September 6th, I think, or something like that. Maybe the 4th, I'm not sure. But in September, the first week of September. And some people are a little, did they bring these charges a little too soon? I really, truly believe that what kind of happened here, well, there might be some nuances here that I learned from Strategic Eyes, but I believe that this was an issue from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Hello, Danny. It's nice to see you and all the beautiful people up in the chat. It's nice to see you from England. September 4th from Scotland. Ooh, Kaz. I heard about your little Scotland girl this morning. We're getting a little wild over there. Getting a little wild. The Real Me Too, Melanie, it's nice to see you. Sabrina, Stephanie, good morning. Panda Bear's mom, it's nice to see you all. Some of you guys, Mama Jess, Mom Oma, South Carolina, Kaz, and everybody else up in here. I know I put you guys all up on the big screen this morning with your comments saying good morning. Karen, it's nice to see you. Lori, Audrey, VA, Chaos, it's nice to see you all. Kylie, good morning, good morning. So, we've got some new breaking information in the case of baby Haro, and it's quite interesting. Not only did we have the court hearing that went on yesterday, we also have, I don't know what it is with my talking anymore. It's like, this stuff just in my throat, it's driving me nuts. I haven't even been drinking milk. I haven't even been smoking on my vape, if you guys haven't even noticed. Like, I'm trying to turn over a healthy leaf here. My throat's not giving me a break. It's driving me nuts. So anyways, we had the court hearing yesterday. Guys, I gotta tell you, it's a little intense in that courtroom. I saw some pictures. Pictures were sent for me from, a couple different shots. And of course, I got to watch some of the videos that were taken inside the courtroom that were later released. Oh, Melanie, it's nice to see you, love. And it's calcium deficiency. Actually, no, because it actually, when I drink milk, it gets worse. It gets worse. So I've been cutting the milk out. So definitely not a calcium deficiency in me. Calcium's good. Hopefully. It's been a little while since I went to the doctor. Maybe I need to go get some blood work done. Who knows? Thank you, Mama Jess, telling everybody, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you guys can stop and just do me a favor and a solid as you're coming in here, please hit that thumbs up button. Please consider making a comment. All of these things help the algorithm and help this get out a little further. And of course, with baby Haro, there are a few good people that we're monitoring and watching out there, boots on the ground. Just a big shout out to Ahmed Bellozo. I may be pronouncing his last name a little bit wrong, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this guy has kept us in the know. He has broke just about every single piece of information with this case, and he has been spot on with the exception of one issue, which if you were kind of out there on the scene, I think you would have made the same determination. It's very rare that we have somebody coming from jail, taking law enforcement out to a specific area, pointing to a specific area, and then not recovering what they went out there to recover. Very uncommon, okay? They usually don't do these ride-along things once you're in jail unless there's, good reason to bring you out there. So many people believe that this was obviously just a wild goose chase that he put them on. So at the end of the day, we do have information, guys. I got to tell you, I might have been wrong. I might have analyzed the depravity of these two people a lot worse. Now, granted, maybe not power equipment that we were hearing at the beginning, which, might not be bad. I'm glad that maybe that might not be coming into play. You know what I'm saying? But we're also learning, guys, I'm sorry to tell you this because I truly didn't believe that these people would do it. But it sounds like baby Emmanuel went into the garbage. Okay? I was really, I don't even know why I pled with the humanity of these flippin' animals, I guess maybe hopeful, because I processed it and I was like, certainly we know that is a primary disposal method of these disgusting parents with their young children, okay? And why many of them are unfound and why we have to change the laws around this country, because throwing your child in the garbage can and then getting lost in a landfill should not preclude you from going to jail for the rest of your life or getting that injection, that little tap line into your vein, okay? And you guys know I processed this and I told you guys why I truly believed he may not be in the garbage can. And again, hey, Chaos. Stephanie, it's nice to see you. Cindy, good morning. What he did to his living daughter. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely inhumane monsters. Absolutely. But we talked about, when this case was going on, we definitely brought Leilani Simon up into this case very early on to discuss her case, the landfills, the processes. And I did tell you guys up front days ago when this case was breaking that if he went into the landfill, he will not be found because too much time has lapsed. I am very fluent with the processes of the landfill because not only did I study them, long before I was a content creator, I watched Joe Kenda, right? You guys know who Joe Kenda is, okay? He is a Colorado Springs police detective that has solved a lot of crimes. He is the one that taught me about the logistics. And this was from years and years and years ago. And those logistics have only improved from back when Joe Kenda was in law enforcement. So one of the very first cases I ever saw at a landfill, they ended up finding her. Okay, they found the body. And I've watched this. That's why whenever we found out about Quentin Simon, we pushed. We went online because I didn't want law enforcement saying it was impossible for them to go out in the landfill to find Quentin Simon, because we started going over talking about the logistics of the landfills and how soon it was when they found out that the baby may have been in the landfill. They can get this child. They need to segregate the trash. They didn't segregate the trash, and they made themselves work 10 times harder over there at that landfill, but they did find baby Q. The problem is they were able to get there within days. Okay, here it appears that, obviously, 4 days had lapsed, but they didn't even know that the possibility of the garbage can. I truly believe that part of their policies and procedures around this country, when we have missing, especially babies, especially children under the age of 3, one of their policies and procedures, and I've said this more than just now, they need to shut down the local landfills. They need to take whatever they collected from that area and segregate it. Not shut their landfill down. Law enforcement may not go there and check the garbage, but at least it's segregated. So if they choose to, it's there for them to go through without being crushed to all get out. And I've approached this before and said this really needs, just like an Amber Alert or an endangered child alert, when these children, they need to be locking these landfills down, because we know that parents are using these landfills to try to hide their crimes. And here it is that this might be a probability. So I'm going to stop right here. I'm getting a little too far ahead of myself. We have more breaking information than just that this morning. We know that these two people went to court, okay? They did not look at each other. It seemed to me that Rebecca was disgusted, okay? But I don't think she was disgusted with her behavior or what happened to her son. I think she is disgusted because she was whipped and made to stick to this storyline, and her hubby, because she loves this man so much that she sacrificed her son. Let's call it that. She sacrificed her blessed son to this animal. And he convinced her, probably beat it into her. Don't say a thing. But she got to truly see him. Yesterday, for the first time, the substances were out of her body. She had clear mind. And she saw the monster that he was truly for the first time yesterday. I am disgusted with this mother because she didn't break. The monster, the real rough, tough man that loves to beat on women and babies, is the one that broke first. But that's, you know what? I find that indicative. Because most of these animals, in the reality, in the grand scheme of things, are nothing but cowards. They're nothing but true cowards. And I told you this man was going to work very hard to throw his wife under the bus. And I think for the first time yesterday, she knew it because she glanced over at him. Everybody said they didn't even look at each other. Nah, I watched the video. I absolutely watched her kind of glance at him. And a time later, I saw him try to gauge her. They were not looking at each other. You could see they hated each other. They hated each other. That's going to help law enforcement, okay? That is going to help law enforcement with them hating each other. Now, my opinion is they need to go ahead, and they may have. She may have already broke. They may have showed her that he may have taken her into an interrogation room and let her hear him blame her. And the look on her face looked like you. It did. Not his. He looked like a snake. He wanted to stare straight ahead like, I don't want to look at her because I know I'd ratted on her. And she's got her kind of head up in the air, not wanting to look at him, but you could see all over her face, it was you. And I think that's going to help law enforcement. Pit these animals against each other because both of them are nothing but cowards. They're both going to break. I hope both of them spend the rest of their life in jail, but I truly do want DP for this monster. Maybe not her. I think her soul can be salvaged. Many people don't agree with me, but I do believe she is a battered woman, and I believe she's on substances. I told you guys that I felt substances were in this house. I believe they were both H users. I think we might find out throughout this process that there was fent or some type of opes and maybe H that they were having problems with. It sounds like it's Rebecca. Rebecca's the one potentially. Now I'm hearing this rumor. I have not confirmed any of this. And so therefore you guys cannot take this as fact, but I would caution you guys to do your own research, because it may be a viable truth. And it sounds like Rebecca's came with the problem and got her younger beau right along with it. But it sounds like he was already a monster before, if this is true. Maybe math. Yeah, possibly YouTuber. But I kept saying something's wrong with Becca. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but women that have allowed themselves to be beaten, and people are going to be like, allowed themselves. Yes, I mean, we need to be speaking about DV and women and what's going on in their life, but we need to be honest with ourselves, okay? And yes, domestic violence is very lethal, but everybody has an opportunity to walk away as hard as it is. And to keep making excuses and say stuff, many women, they need the tough love, and we have got to start giving it to them, because their life depends on it. And I think if we keep saying things like, you've got no choice, or, you do. I'm tired of it. Every single one of you abused people, man or woman, have a choice. You have a choice right now. You have a choice as you're watching the Bullhorn Betty show to get your ass up and walk out that door and close the door behind you and never turn back around. You have that choice. I want to make sure you understand that. But many people give themselves excuses like, what about, bill money? What about a place to live? Really? Your life is worth bill money? You sell yourself that short? That you truly don't feel that you would be able to build your life up better? I'm going to tell you, you can. If you want out, walk out. It is the most dangerous time, but if you make it, the freedom on the other end of that fear is well worth the risk. You guys are seeing every single day when we come here on the Bullhorn Betty channel what violence does to families. And I need my people that are being abused to get some strength. I don't know where you're going to get it. I don't know how what your personal situation is, or how low the person that's abusing you has taken you. But is that a comfortable position for you to be in today? If not, then it's time for you to not put possessions over the value of you. It's time for you to put yourself number one. If you are being abused and you don't know what to do, I'm going to always say, walk out the door and don't look back, because that's what I had to do. Okay? But, if you're still not strong enough, there are plenty of resources out there. And I would ask you to call the National Center for Domestic Violence. They have a hotline. They have a DV hotline that will help you make a plan and execute it, if that's what you so choose. That's only my disclaimer here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. We want everybody to be happy, healthy, and live without violence. That is our mission. That is our goal. And so we're finding out some good news. Yeah, she's been brainwashed, but again, she made her own decision. She is an accomplice, and she continues to show that she is an accomplice by, hey, sweetie pie, by failing to stand up for her son. Her son deserves better than this. He deserved better than whatever they gave him. So let's get on with the info, the intel. Oops, did I forget to? I surely did. Let's find the right one. Yeah, we're at the wrong. Okay, we're in the wrong one. So let me go back here, because we're going to go in order. We're going to go in order. I put these in order for a reason, because we got some info. Let me just move this just a little bit this way. Did I not have? Okay, we're just going to do it. So we're just going to do a little bit this way. As you guys know, this is Ahmed. He has really been informing the world, okay? This case has been his baby. He's picked up the ball with it. He has ran with it. Many people like me, I just truly appreciate the work and the tenacity that he has put into this beautiful child. And I truly believe, you know, if we were to be basing all of our information off the limited information coming out from this area, because remember, mainstream media, they want you to purchase to read these articles about this baby. They put all these articles in like the Los Angeles Times and stuff like that behind paywalls. Okay? I want you guys to understand that. America is being literally nickeled and dimed for news. Okay? From the news broadcasters. I literally cannot go and find information that's relevant today from the local media in the area that Ahmed's in. And I can guarantee you their reporting has not been near as thorough as this man on your screen right here. So we're going to go to the person that has the tea, okay? And I'm going to also say for the media out there in this area, it's time to step up your game. We are in 2025, okay? Your audience most likely isn't LA. It's people like me from Florida, and I'm not going to be nickeled and dimed to death. Put some advertisements on it like everybody else does, and make it open to the public so we can get these stories out, especially of a 7-month-old child. I must be having, my computer must be overheating, because there's no reason for my camera to go out, and it's going out. So it's either that or something is loose somewhere. Let me see if I can move this just a little bit. No, but I just saw my camera go out. So just bear with me. We're going to get started. And this, again, we've got some new information. I think that this here might be, now that I found out new information this morning, this might be a little bit different. Let's see.
Search party here in Cali Mesa, California. These are our constituents. We started with one and we got about 10, 15 people here, all looking for the
I'll be right back. I gotta get coffee.
Emmanuel has entered the chat. New evidence today in court. Jake and Rebecca Haro, in fact, were granted $1 million bail each. The Turpin lawyer has entered the chat. I know some of you fools from Paris, California, remember the Turpin lawyer, which was the family, the 13 members who were abused by the mom and father. The Turpin lawyer was sitting directly behind Rebecca Haro. Now today, Rebecca Haro has the same attorney, public defender, as Jake Haro, but they will be having separate lawyers on September 4th. At least that's what I understood. Also, believe that the fly-by-night lawyer, the DJ, has left the chat. What I understand, he's probably butthurt.
I forgot to tell you guys this. That it wasn't as much breaking news, like we have so much, more important things to report on, related to this case. So I chose not to report. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this. Okay. Sorry, I'm laughing because I found out that Suave, sorry. That the attorney representing Jake, the one that got him the sweetheart deal, I'm thinking he's everybody called him a mafia attorney and stuff like that. Well, come to find out, he's really not. The reason why he looks so GQ is because he's an attorney during the day and a DJ at night. And I'm like, what the the attorney's a DJ? Like, I'm sorry. I don't know. If I would have learned that up front, I probably wouldn't have had the comments I had about his attorney, I can't believe it. I'm not lying. We found out that GQ attorney, Vince Hughes, is like, I guess you can rent him for your hip hop party or something, or maybe he's a DJ at the local, hip hop club in the area. I don't know. I'm like, and he seemed so disheveled when he found out about his client. We noticed that he wasn't out there when Jake was out there on Highway 60. We didn't see Vincent anywhere. And so we hear he's this DJ, and I'm like, when I heard he's a DJ, then I'm sorry, I'm from the legal field, and if you are an attorney, you don't have time to be a DJ. If you're a good attorney, I'm telling you, you do not have time to be a blessed DJ on the weekends, because the weekends are literally the only time you can really do your legal research. Your phones aren't ringing with clients. You usually have your paralegal come in on a Saturday. And a good attorney has, their own little, mini law library. You don't have to. I'm sorry. I've worked for enough attorneys to know that the people I worked for, they had zero time. They barely had time to eat, let alone be DJing at a club, getting drunk and partying. I mean, you know what? I was lucky to see, like, my attorneys, they had bottles of booze in their offices, not because they were drunks, but because if they were going to have a cocktail, guess where it was going to be? In their office. Why? Because they live in it. They live in it. Anyways, I forgot to tell you guys that. So when I heard this, I figured I'd stop and let you guys know. If you guys missed it because I didn't run it on here, Vince is like a DJ. I know. If you guys are shocked, join the club.
Jake was seen on the side of the 60 freeway, and his lawyer was nowhere in sight. On the tira, if I ask myself, what do you think?
But I kind of, prosecuting attorneys is a little bit different than defense attorneys, okay? And I will tell you why, West Virginia Holler Girl. Prosecuting attorneys typically do have more time on their hands than, say, a private attorney. One, because a district attorney has basically a lot of employees that work under them to do all their legal research, document preparation, and basically all they're provided is a book. I mean, granted, there's legal, they need to apply their legal expertise. Maybe it might be outside of the realm of their paralegals or legal assistants and whatnot. So they have a lot more people, and they're being paid by we the people, prosecutors and defendant, public defenders. So they absolutely have a lot more time than, say, a private practice attorney. So this is a private practice attorney. So you're really trying to compare apples and oranges. The prosecutor absolutely has time on their hands because they can't they have to have approval for overtime, unless they have a case and it's already pre-approved, like a homicide case or something like that. They would be working on the weekends, but those are few and far between, and that would be more gearing up for trial than really just all this stuff back and forth with court until the trial comes. They're preparing the file, they're getting it organized as they're going. So it really is kind of comparing apples to oranges. Private practice attorneys, they don't have time because they don't have the deep pockets typically, or the resources to have the kind of office, say, the state prosecutor has. So just to kind of put a little insight into that.
Thanks to my constituents here for enlightening us, because here at 33985 San Mateo Canyon Road, right in front of the Edison station in Cali Mesa, California, on the Tira, we got some clues. A bluey blanket. We have a tool that we grabbed. We didn't touch it, and it's in my car on the Tira right now. And so,
and this may, and God bless him and all the great people out there, because that's what you do. You get out there in the woods and you start searching, because you never know when you're going to come across something, especially if you get information. Oh, that's okay, West Virginia. Yeah, I actually, I don't know if I would think it was a bright idea to be playing a gig before a trial, like literally a day or a night before a trial. They should be preparing for that trial, and that could probably be used against them in some type of, whatever. I don't know if I would have done that, but it is cool that they have an opportunity for an outlet, and I think that playing an instrument, making music, I think music's good for the soul. I think that no matter what part of the world you come from, I truly believe that music is what connects us all just a little bit, just a little bit. And music's powerful.
New developments in Eastvale now entering the chat. Video surveillance that quite possibly Emmanuel was spotted with the entire Haro extended family as well in Costco on August 10th. That means that little Emmanuel now survived at least to the 10th. Number 3 has left the chat today.
So that is the breaking news right now. Is we, originally when we were here and we were trying to piece together the timeline, we found out several things that, we heard. We didn't know. We know now because the guy from the pawn shop came forward. But what we had learned is that, she was most likely sporting a black eye on the 3rd, and then she went to her cousin's funeral with the black eyes, even though her family said she wasn't sporting a black eye. And so we know that she did have a black eye. We talked to the pawn shop owner, which was she came in there on the 3rd to sell some, coins, some collector coins. Where she got those collector coins, I have no idea. I think it still supports my theory that they were slinging substances out of the house to help, pay for things, either their, own personal habit or the bills inside the home. But I felt that way because Jake's brother died from lethal substance intoxication, and Rebecca's cousin or nephew died from lethal substance intoxication, and the substances were exactly the same. The opes, some type of opes, whether it was fent or H or some other kind of derivative, synthetically or otherwise. And that's what, you don't have two people keel over in a couple years and then there would be nothing going on inside that home, especially when somebody actually lost their life inside that home. But we also learned that Jake's mother and stepfather own that home. So that may be maybe the reason why his brother was there is because that's where they lived, Or maybe his brother was crowding his style and could have given him a hot package. I mean, I would hate to think something like that, but you know what? I also am looking at a man that has destroyed many children's lives. Would it be that far and off base to think like that? I think not. I think not. But now we know that baby Emmanuel was spotted on the 10th. This is 4 days. 4 days before he was reported missing. So now, if true, we've moved the needle a week. So that means this child disappeared later than we assumed, but not the day that they called in the abduction theory. So I'm watching this information. It sounds like it is true. I'm hearing it from multiple sources that this child truly was observed. So a proof of life of Emmanuel as late as August 10th. As late as August 10th. This is good. This is good. I know people are like, he's still gone, but this is good because if, for example, he's not in the garbage can, and if, for example, he is out in that hot desert, they might still be able to get soft tissue and other things that could go in with related to this case. But I really think because we have experience, and our experiences, parents like this do throw their children away in the garbage, as I have reported previously. I was just hopeful because this guy was married that somehow in his twisted brain, he would try to be the good guy, to almost apologize to his wife for, what he did in front of her, and want to bury their child in some type of twisted way of giving him a proper burial. 2021, May 2021, I believe. Psychopharmacist. I think it was 2021. May, if I'm not mistaken, maybe May 4th, 2021, or something like that. I'm not 100%. I know somebody in the chat will probably drop a better response down in the chat. That's what I've been thinking. Maybe the brother was the real dad of the baby. Hey, it's easy to give someone to... it's beneath them. Yeah, I never thought about that, because she doesn't seem like she's the... I don't know. I have no high regard for Rebecca at all. Even despite her being an abused woman, even despite her potentially being now substance addicted, if everything I'm hearing is true. These, like I said, there are every case that I come to where it's always the same ingredients in the issue. It's either drugs, it's either alcohol, or violence. It's one of those things, two of those things, or all three of those things. I always find, always in our cases, it's always these three common factors in every single one of our cases. Every single one of them that I cover, one of those are factors. Every single one. And usually it's a combination. It's usually alcohol and home violence, or it's usually substances and home violence. And sometimes it's alcohol, substance, and home violence, like Summer Wells' case. They had every bit of it involved in there, including a sick father that's depraved. SX depraved.
This episode being brought to you by the number 10 and by the letter E for Emmanuel, still missing here in Cali Mesa, quite possibly Yucaipa, maybe in the Badlands, Moreno Valley. We just don't know. But we have more footage today. We found a mound of dirt, and we have video footage of that. Shout out to Glizzy, LA, homie, on the Tira, and our constituents throughout Jerry as well.
So they're about to go out into the field. I'm not really concerned about that. It was the August 10th stuff that I thought was very interesting. Now, this is going back to the court hearing, and this is one of the people that were in the court hearing. We're about to get to another breaking news related to the manner of disposal and what I found out about that. So just stay tuned. I've got this all in order, and we're getting up to it shortly. I've got it probably... This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 more videos, and then we'll have a little more conversation on, what I hear, what I see, and maybe some theorizing about what this stuff could mean. Hey, Karen, it's nice to see you. Sell the Mo, it's nice to see you. Carmela, good morning. T-Web, it's nice to see you. Lauren, good morning.
Other family members
there
from
was
the Haro?
nobody there. Nobody. We were everywhere.
So no family, guys, no family. It sounds like no family showed up for either one of these people. That's huge. They're in this by themselves. Nobody wants nothing to do, because there's a stigma, you know? But I still believe Jake's mom there's something wrong with that lady. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Her and I in there.
But no other family members
there
from
was
the Haro?
nobody there. Nobody. We were everywhere.
What are they
Nos quieren
interviewing?
saber todo lo que sentimos y todo. Que si me la quiero agarrar. ¿Cómo les voy a decir que me la quiero agarrar? Of course. Como quisiera. Si les preguntas, lo que quiero saber is where's the baby. That's what we want to know is where's the baby.
Somebody told me that they were digging. Caltrans was digging, and I went to go check, and they were bulldozing parts of the area.
What he said?
No, further down. But I just thought it was weird that they would be bulldozing at night. But there was no agencies, no law enforcement, so I couldn't speculate. Other than it was
It's fucking frustrating, man. This is frustrating. Like, I'm nervous. I'm not trying to do another. I already did 2 damn interviews. I'm not here for fucking news.
So it sounds like the people there, they're not there to back. I don't think, typically we always have disgusting hate channels that come here and tell us, I can't believe you think the parents did this, and shame on you, and let me destroy your life. Let me call in, swatting because we don't like the way you're covering this case or something like that. Like, this is a 7-month-old baby. I haven't even heard the blessed hate channels come and try to shame the rest of the public about how they're proven innocent until proven guilty, yada 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 yada. We haven't even gotten that on this case. Like, these people literally have no support from the public, and it's because this is a baby and they lied. And it was so obvious at the beginning that I don't think that they could even amass support. The little bit of support that they did have, once they found out that they were lying, they said bye-bye. They said bye-bye. They're not doing it. If you guys have not gone out and give this channel a thumbs up, please consider on your way in or out hitting that thumbs up button, possibly throwing a comment in there about what you think about this case, or just a thumbs up or a heart emoji in the chat. And if you find this valuable, this information valuable, please consider sharing it. Share it on other social media platforms. Share it in your Facebook groups. I'm interested in hearing the perspective of my audience. You can always send me your perspective or your personal thoughts to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I like to bring different perspectives to my channel, and look at this. I mean, it's kind of hard because we have Ahmed out there, which has kind of really made sure that everybody stays on track with the information and hasn't really gotten too far off the factual information, which has been really great. And I just believe if we were left to mainstream media, the conversation about this case would be much different, because there would have been so many voids in this case that it would leave people to speculate. And as we know, there's a lot of people out here that don't think clearly, that speculate wildly, and you gotta, they make ninjas and supernatural people and events to explain their theories. I mean, it's insane, but we see it all too often. So this one was able to keep on track, and I truly believe it was because of Ahmed.
I'm over here. So we have to check back they told me to check back at 12:30.
Okay, and then this is where we found out, because there was a lot of charging issues. Now, this one here, I'm going to show you, but I think might be irrelevant. Now, because of the... Let me see. Is it the next one? Yep. Okay. So, this here, I'm going to show you, because I think you need to hear it, because we do have an operation that went on inside the jail, and that particular is called a Perkins something or other. We're going to learn a little bit about it from Brian Enton here in just a moment. But this person here went out there. A lot of good people are out there trying to find answers about this baby, because again, it's a baby, okay? And in America, we don't take too kindly. We don't really care. We're equal opportunity a-holes here. Like, don't mess with our kids, okay? We don't care if you're a parent. We don't care if you're a step-parent. We don't care if you are a foster parent, an adopted parent. We don't care. Keep your mugs off of our children, okay? Because the minute you abuse your child, you lose your parental rights, whether you have truly lost them or not. That child becomes our child. And when we find out something happens to that child and you're responsible, there will be public hell to pay. There will be public hell to pay. And this is a situation where everybody is out there trying to make heads or tails of what happened to this baby. All of our goals are identical, okay? This is the first time that I can honestly say that there is not one content creator that I have come across yet that our goal is not the same. And it is to bring Emmanuel home. We know he's dead. We know he was murdered by his parents. But what we want to do is make sure that little guy gets to rest at peace, not in a blessed landfill. If he's in that landfill, we are screwed with that mission, period. He will never, ever be found. And that truly is disgusting. And that right there should be another charge. When you dispose of your child, where's the laws in this country? Where's our freaking politicians? I mean, instead of worrying about the freaking maps and Texas and, the pissing contest of Governor Newsom, I don't like him, okay? So if you do, apologize. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to my audience, but I have a mouth. I believe in my First Amendment right, and you don't have to agree with me. But you know what? I'm so sick and tired of hearing all these politicians arguing between themselves about what they think America needs or wants when we don't want it. We ain't buying it, yet they're still pushing it. And here we are having children being discarded in the blessed garbage, and there is no charge for discarding your child in the garbage. That is the most barbaric thing I've ever seen. And I'm a barbaric woman, and I'm disgusted by this. I think if you are caught throwing a child or any victim in a landfill, there should be federal charges. Federal. Not state, federal charges. There has to be something, And we are all over this country. We can get into our politicians' heads, start emailing them, because you know what? This is an area that's not being touched by our laws. It's not being touched by our laws. And it should be. It shouldn't just be abuse of a corpse. And they don't even have that charge. Why? Because they have no body. So where is the charge for this? There is nothing to charge them. Oh, that's okay, Seth. Seth is running behind today. He's out there advocating for his son, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, there in Hendersonville, Tennessee, Sumner County, Tennessee. If you guys are out there, please show up and show some love to Seth Rogers as he advocates for his beautiful son, handsome son. Sorry, Seth. I'm sorry, handsome son, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, which is a 16-year-old boy, and his daddy really just wants him to come home. And he's got a sheriff that even after being presented from a father or gives a sterile comment to the paper, he's a piece of garbage. And I hope that everybody in his county looks at his behavior in this case, because that could have been your child. And I don't know if it was your child, it would be acceptable. It always seems to be acceptable in communities when it's somebody else's kid. And it seems like, some of the people now there's good-hearted people in Sumner County. Do not misunderstand me. There are some amazing people, but it's the greater community. How can you be a Bible community and say that you're Christians and then sit idly by while your sheriff does this to another human being? I don't know. I just have a moral problem with it. And maybe a little bit of shame could go a long way into making you guys get a backbone and help, right? And quit accepting the status quo from a corrupt county. I can tell you if that was my county here in Manatee County, well, it used to be my county here in Manatee County, and I stood up and spoke up. And then we got a whole bunch of people to stand up and speak up, because it only really just takes one person. It's amazing how infectious doing the right thing is in a community. All you have to do is stand up and speak up Then the next time you go out there, there's an extra person standing up and speaking up with you. And then the next time you go out there, there's another person. And next thing you know, every time you go out, you got 20 or 30 people sitting right by your side helping you advocate. That's how it's done. And hopefully, we start inspiring people to get out and help if you can, right? I can promise you, it really, it does something to your soul. It feels good. And maybe I'm just selfish. Maybe I'm just selfish because I like feeling good. Maybe that's why I do it. I'm so selfish about wanting to feel good that I do good. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But I can personally tell you, doing good actually feels good doing. Even when it's not the popular viewpoint, because you were true to yourself. And hopefully we start standing up and speaking up, because I think if more people would have done it a long time ago, who knows, maybe society might be a little bit different than it is today. I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to this. This right here, again, I think is outdated. Very good. I'm very thankful for all the people that are out there in the field searching for this young boy, and keep it up, because I don't trust Jake one way or another. Okay, I don't trust Jake in this Perkins operation. I don't trust Jake when he was out there talking to the investigator. I don't trust Jake. He is a known liar. He's a known conniver. He likes to hurt women. He likes to hurt babies. I don't trust him. I just don't trust him. So let's listen to this.
You see that fence right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that fence.
Oh, so you just threw him?
Yeah. Like he just threw him. And then he rolled. And that's where he landed, like in that fence.
Wow, okay. So a lady right here just said that I guess he had pulled over to the side of the freeway right here, and in a trash bag, he threw him, and he rolled all the way down to where you see a fence down there. I'm not sure if you guys could see a fence.
Okay. So again, I grabbed this last night when it was, making its way around. And then of course this morning I get here and, Brian Enton, he's actually, let me just make sure hold on a second. Let me take this off and fix this real quick. Okay. There we go. We find out some breaking information. So Brian Enton, as many of you guys know, is well-to-do. He's got some great resources that he has been able to acquire over the last few years with law enforcement, because he's a trusted ally. He keeps when he tells people he's keeping stuff confidential, guess what? He's keeping stuff confidential, and people appreciate that. So Brian Enton had brought the, you guys know I pulled some of the stuff from a report he did earlier yesterday, and he had a retired prosecutor from Riverside, because this was a San Bernardino case. San Bernardino and prosecutor were going to prosecute this case. And then we find out that there is a possibility. We didn't find out there's a possibility. They confirmed that Emmanuel was murdered inside the family home. Well, that family home is not in San Bernardino, California, where the Big Five sporting goods store where they reported the child abducted. That's in San Bernardino, California. Their home is in Riverside. Now we know that the child was murdered in Riverside. That makes the jurisdiction Riverside. And I do believe strategic eyes. I don't believe that San Bernardino, California consulted with Riverside after they realized that baby Emmanuel was murdered inside the home. Strategic Eyes believes that the sheriff, San Bernardino, California sheriff, now I haven't looked into this, but I trust the research of Strategic Eyes and his research team, that the sheriff from the San Bernardino, California Sheriff's Department is running for governor, and had a vested interest in making the arrest to look good for political purposes. Now, you guys know how I feel about that. I'm a political person. I'm a political activist, in addition to a true crime content creator and, victim advocate. But I do not and will never be okay with anybody practicing law enforcement to become a governor, where you're violating people's rights to have the next position. Now, I don't know if that's the case, and I don't want to wield that out. I'm just saying that for me, if I were to find that out, I would be highly upset about it. So I do not believe that they consulted with Riverside after they realized that there was a potential for this case being a Riverside case. And I think that's where all of the issues rose, and why it took so long to figure out what these people were being charged with, because they didn't communicate once they found out that this could be transferred. And because of that, it put Riverside even further behind, and they had a statute deadline that they had to make a decision on. And so they did finally make the decision that there was enough there for this. Guys, they've increased those charges since they went to court. Thank you, Donna. Thank you for becoming the newest subscriber. If you guys don't know, subscriptions for the Bullhorn Betty channel are free of charge. So when I'm live, we kind of control our chat. I have these beautiful mods in here that make sure everybody is being able to express their feelings and comments on these cases we cover without being nasty to one another. Okay? And so we require a subscription here so we can control your chat, okay? We are First Amendment, except in my chat when you want to be nasty. So we make sure we shut the chat down. So if you'd like to communicate, you will have to subscribe, and you have to be subscribed for 20 minutes. Now, if you love this channel and you want to support this channel, there's a lot of free ways to support this channel by thumbing up, typing a comment, or providing a comment in chat, or just on your comments during the replay, and sharing this. That's how you can help free of charge. If you want to go a step further, you can always do the super chat, super thanks, super stickers, a whole host, including memberships, which I do love memberships. A lot of people love them. It's a nominal fee that helps this channel on a monthly basis. So thank you all for taking the time to give me a thumbs up and learning a little more about Emmanuel Haro and his life. So now we're going to be learning, thank you, Com. So now we're going to be learning a little bit more. I want to get to right here. I'm going to drop Brian Enton's channel down, if you guys have seen it. I also want to give a big shout out to Matt Thibodeau. If you guys have not been over to his channel, subbed up here on YouTube, or went over to his TikTok, and I believe he might be on Instagram too. Please consider, thank you, Pat. I appreciate that. If you have not gone over to Matt and subbed up, I definitely recommend. He has great stuff. And not only that, but yesterday I was looking for something and he had it and sent it to me. So I just thought that was really sweet that he was just, coming by and checking out my video and realized I needed something and sent. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the way social media and content creation should be, especially in true crime, because we're all supposed to be here for the same thing and helping one another out. I just think it's a beautiful thing when we can all do that. So just a big shout out to my friend Matt Thibodeau for his continued work on all of these cases, as well as going to college and doing very well. We always want to support all of that. So get over there and check him out. And here is Brian Enton bringing the real. Let's listen.
It's been up to 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Will they ever actually find baby Emmanuel? I'm joined now by Kim Dagonia, a former Riverside County prosecutor. Thank you for joining.
This is going to be let me just go out here. Where are we? Are there? They're going to be introducing. I think it's right here. Let's start here.
Sympathy, garner some type of a linear charge or sentence, but he made up this.
Okay, let's go back. Okay.
Inside sources are telling me that was absolutely a lie. He made that all up to the police. in order to, I guess, garner some type of.
He wanted to, many of us, and let's stop right here and just have a little discussion. I didn't know where I was going to place when I first put my cursor down. So, because there was a lot that went on here, but there's only 2 specific points that I want to make from this here. But again, if you guys have not already, this is Brian Enton's. Please go over there, sub up. Also, if you'd like to watch this full video in its entirety and derive your own opinion from it, you can do that. I just dropped the link into the chat. But right now, this is related to him going out there. Many of us believe that because the dogs did not scent anything, that this was another hoax brought on by Jake Haro in an attempt to look like he's cooperating without actually having to cooperate. And it sounds like that is the case, folks. If you had believed that this was a lie and that Jake was behind it, well, give yourself a round of applause because you were right. Yes, and I can tell you, he's good. He's fair. And he cares. I think that is more important. Is Brian Enton. I can promise you that man out of, there's a lot of people. I don't want to give anybody, put anybody out or say, this person doesn't care more than this person. But in these types of jobs where you have mainstream media, a lot of them don't have time to get emotionally involved in our cases. I can tell you there are a few people that not only talk about these cases, but continuously talk about. It's not just a story for them. They really care about the outcome of these cases. And I can tell you, Brian Enton is one of those few people. Not that everybody is this heartless mainstream media, reporter. It's just that they have boards of directors, they have things, so I just appreciate the ones that kind of, put that honor and respect the freedom of press. And I feel like there are all too many reporters that have poo-pooed on their own rights. And I'm just not okay with that.
Sympathy, garner some type of a linear charge or sentence, but he made up this entire fabricated story that he was asleep with the baby Emmanuel, that he rolled over onto baby Emmanuel. When he woke up, he realized the baby was dead.
Did you guys hear that? This is all breaking news information. We all heard that Jake Haro confessed. We didn't know to the extent of the confession. And now we are learning what he said he confessed to. So what he's telling people that he confessed to is the baby was in bed with him. He fell. No, of course not. We saw the baby's face. We know that that is not true, of course. But his story to the police, his confession, was that he was asleep and rolled on top of the baby. And that the baby, now what is the one thing, now just to remember, this is not their first child, okay? Let me repeat that. This is not their first child. And I'm saying that because one thing that you learn more than anything in the world is don't sleep with the baby in the bed. Everybody in America and across this world knows that it can be a lethal decision to sleep in bed with your baby. Don't do it. A woman went to jail because she slept with her baby in bed. One time she rolled over. It was a heavier set lady. She rolled over on her child, the child unalived. So they gave her counseling and all this other stuff, probation and stuff like that. Well, she went on to have another child and did the exact same thing. And so they ended up throwing her in jail because at that point she knew better. She knew better. So everybody knows you're not supposed to be sleeping with the baby. Now, I don't believe this man had that kind of relationship with this boy for him to be sleeping with him in bed. I mean, I saw one picture of Jake and this baby in his hand, and he looked disgusted. Every time I see him with this child, he looks there's disgust on his, he hates children. Okay? This man should not be a father because he doesn't like kids. Every time he's holding a child, you see it on his face. I absolutely seen it on his face. So we know he lied here. He lied here to garner sympathy. And they didn't find the child. They didn't even pick up the scent of the child. It was by far, it was a lie. It was a lie. Let me go back just a little bit and we'll hear what she made a statement, another bombshell revelation that he fell asleep and rolled on the baby.
But he made up this entire fabricated story that he was asleep with the baby Emmanuel, that he rolled over onto baby Emmanuel. When he woke up, he realized the baby was dead and he panicked. And so he went out to the Gilman Springs area that we saw him with the police the other day, and he buried the body because he wanted to have the opportunity to go back and mourn his son's death. And
so there he is. He's trying to look like the good guy, right? He buried his son so he can go back there and mourn his death. So he had a place to go to pray over his son. You know, what a bleeding heart guy. What a great guy, right? Well, even that was a lie. Even that was a lie. So let's go back here and we're going to listen to, I think it's right here. Might be further down. Hold on, please.
To these fake inmates in.
Okay, here we are. Yes, we're here.
Officer, if it's another, run-of-the-mill citizen of the community that was acting as an.
There we go. I think I went too far ahead. Hold on, let me see.
Baby Emmanuel. Chains and his shackles, allegedly trying to lead the police to the body that was never there.
Up is because of this reporting that we have that he spoke to.
Here it is. Okay. So guys, here's another, oh, thank you, Melanie. Here's another tidbit of information. Breaking news, folks, breaking news. It has now been reported that they set Jake up. They put a fake cop or a fake inmate in his jail cell. We've seen this strategy before in other cases, but they pulled out all the stops, folks. Okay, this is what true policing and investigations look like from reputable law enforcement bodies. This is what they do. This is what we have not seen out of Sumner County at all. So we do have, for people to say that we don't know what we're talking about with Sumner County, I totally disagree. Because we see this every day, all day, other great police outfits doing the work, getting the job done, and not protecting the subjects, the criminals, the people that did the horrible things to children, like Eric Craddock, Sheriff Snuggle Struggle, is doing to the Proud Feet or Foots. Whatever. So I saw Melanie down here. Oh, Melanie, thank you. Always good to be here, Betty. You do great work getting information on all these missing children. Much love to you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. So now we're going to learn about this Perkins operation.
Someone who he thought was an inmate in the jail, but it was actually what is known as, a Perkins operation. So it's actually a police officer who he admitted to actually killing the baby. First of all, can you explain what a Perkins operation is?
Sure. We don't know if the person who was undercover was a police officer, if it's another,
They do have police officer. They may have used a police officer in this operation just to make sure it was all above board versus a confidential informant. Usually confidential informants come with backgrounds, horrible backgrounds, that they're now, got a plea deal to inform for the cops. So I hope and pray that who they stuck into the cell with him was actually a police officer. We have some rough looking police officers. I gotta tell you, we have undercover police officers that look like they could be bums on the side of the road, and they let their hair grow out long. They even get some tattoos, wear the gruffy facial hair just to play the part, to find these things. So they stuck this guy, and they could have been a private citizen, it could have been an informant, it could have been somebody that just works with the law, a private partner, public private partnership type of organization or nonprofit that they supply, gruff looking people to go into jail. But whatever the case may be, it sounds like they hit pay dirt, and the pay dirt that they hit, it's heartbreaking. This is where we found out that it sounds like baby Emmanuel has been thrown away in the garbage. Now, I want you guys to realize why I'm so upset about this is because this child, his parents should have loved him. They didn't. They abused him from the time he was born to the time he died. And I believe the majority of the abuse came from Jake, but we can't dismiss Rebecca's abuse by standing by. I think it's abusive to stand by and watch a baby be subjected to abuse and not step in, intervene, or do something. I don't know how somebody can control themselves not to step in. But we also know she walked away from her entire family, her children, everything for Jake. So there's not a whole lot she's not willing to do for Jake, including sacrificing her son. So they put this guy in this jail cell with Jake. They obviously bonded fairly well, and Jake confessed to his jailhouse bunkie. And what he confessed to his jailhouse bunkie is very heartbreaking to me, because this means, if true, we're never going to be able to lay to rest this little boy. And I find that just horrible. And to think that they're not going to be charged with throwing their baby away like garbage because there's no laws on the books across this country. I am angry, folks. Angry. I want to start people being charged with throwing their children away like garbage. I want it to be a separate, blessed charge. I don't know how many of you guys are with me, but I think we should all be in solidarity to that. Every one of us. Every last one of us. So many children being... Yes. Yes. Amen. Amen, Polly. It's hard. It's hard. I'm a human being here. And, if I didn't think that this was beneficial, I would not subject myself to all of this. This is tough. This is tough stuff. You know what? And it bothers me because they keep showing the same photos of this young boy. And every time I see his photos and see the pain in his eyes, it does something to me. It on a level that not even Quentin Simon hit me at. And you guys know how I felt about Quentin Simon. And this right here, every time I see, I finally have to close my eyes and just listen, because they have his photo up and going on that little carousel, and it's just heartbreaking. So I'm just now putting my phone down and just listening to the content, because I can't keep looking at that poor baby's face. And to think that he was around other family members and they didn't see what we're seeing. I have a problem with that. I do. I blame Jake's family. It had more contact with this family than anybody in Rebecca's side of the family. I blame them. They knew, and they stood by and did nothing. They knew when that baby came home, that baby's face wasn't disfigured. They knew that. And they just kept not wanting to address it. Now he's gone. Forever. Your family member in a garbage can at a landfill. I blame you. Sylvie, whatever your name is. Grandma. a-hole in the Harley Davidson truck that wanted to go over there. I blame you all. As far as I'm concerned, you guys are no different. No different. And maybe I'm wrong. They should have stepped in. There's no way in the world that I believe that they truly believe that child had a lazy eye. And if they did, they're too stupid to even have their own children. Stupid.
Run-of-the-mill citizen of the community that was acting as an undercover inmate. We just know there was another body in the jail cell pretending to be an inmate in the same inmate clothes as Jake Haro, shackled in the same manner in which Jake Haro is. And they begin to ask questions while being recorded to Jake specifically about the charges and why he's in there, in hopes that he will admit whatever really happened to baby Emmanuel to these fake inmates.
So that is what is a Perkins operation, okay? So I'm pretty sure you guys probably knew the process but didn't know the name. Now, is the Perkins operation, is that the specific name for California, or is that what it's named across the country? I truly do not know. Do your own research. That kind of detail is not anything that has one way to do with this case or another. I just wanted you to know what that was referring to in this case. Again, he confessed. So he confessed to investigators that he rolled on the baby. Unintentionally killed the baby by sleeping with the child and rolling over on the child. And he took the child out there to Moreno Valley to bury the child so he could go back and grieve that child's loss at a later date. That was the hocus pocus story that he provided law enforcement. Well, he didn't realize that they had already initiated this Perkins operation, so the guy was probably already in the cell sleeping when he was thrown into that cell or assigned to that cell. And so, as many of you know, maybe many of you don't know, okay, I've had the pleasure of being in a holding cell. The displeasure of being in a holding cell. Okay, if you guys don't know my history, I got a history. Okay, I had quite the path to get to where I am today, and so I do have some experience, and I can tell you when you're in there, you do just you're there. No, I mean, you get your food when you get your food, but you're basically in the jail unless they let you go out into the pod and, play cards and communicate with other people. But when you're there for the first time or you don't really know anybody, you kind of stay in your cell. You don't want to be around those people because they ain't like you. I mean, in all fairness, they weren't I didn't come from the streets. I came from a home or a bar or something, however I got there, I came from, right? But you do conversate with people and you tell them what you're there for and you kind of, shoot the shit and stuff like that. It happens. So I can kind of see this entire thing happening, going on there where he's kind of in his cell. The other guy's in his cell. You guys don't. What I'm talking about. Oh, those girls. Girls. Substances or no substances. Have some damn respect for yourself, ladies. Good gracious. But I have no room to talk. I was sitting right there next to some of them. Okay, enough of that. So Perkins operation, sending somebody in your cell to garner some information about what you may or may not have done, and that's where it's at. So now let's get on to, it might be just rolling right into it, but I'm trying to be respectful here.
Doing that?
Yeah, it's been very controversial.
Okay.
In using this tool as an investigative means.
Okay.
That he threw him in the trash can at his home.
Here it is. Now we found it. Okay, thank you. So here we go.
I'm just thinking about waste management and all the trash cans and the landfill. I mean, it
looks like
a much tighter rein on how these are conducted. The Riverside District Attorney's Office, from my understanding and my experience, has gone to great lengths along with the Sheriff's Department to make sure that they are following and articulating the legal analysis and following the law as they conduct these operations.
Yeah, because it's pretty controversial. But at the end of the day, everybody knows there is no duty of privacy in a prison. Everybody knows that every time you record a conversation or you call somebody, it's recorded. There is no privacy in jail. So to say that these operations are unconstitutional, in my opinion, I would say that, your clients need to know to keep their mouth shut. Because at the end of the day, not one inmate in there is bound by attorney-client privilege or confidentiality. So it's not a public conversation, and you're having it with another person, and then you're trying to say that these operations are not above board. I disagree with that. I think these operations are absolutely above board. I absolutely condone them. You guys know I'm a stickler on certain things. This is not one of those things that I'm a stickler on. Thank you, North Carolina Renee. It's nice to see you. Betty, possibly Jake lied to the informant also. Yes, and we have to take that into consideration, and that's what I said. I don't believe either one. Go back to the beginning. I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all. You're 100% right, Renee. Absolutely. We don't trust crap that comes out of his mouth. And that's why I told people to, continue to search, because we just don't know. And there's got to be something, and he may have been smartened up and knew that the guy was a confidential informant, or got the feeling that, or maybe the guy moved into talking about his personal issues too much. We don't know how organic that conversation went, or if it was successful. But the way it sounds like, they're starting to believe it. So, you know what? We could think that they lied, but maybe he didn't. Maybe they've got him dead to rights on this. But you were right. We have to take everything with a grain of salt at this point until we know for certain.
It's very specific, and in my experience, they follow the law in using this tool as an investigative means to get a confession out of many defendants over the years.
So this was a fake inmate who he told reportedly that he killed baby Emmanuel and then put baby Emmanuel into a trash can. I'm just thinking about waste management and all the trash cans and the landfill. I mean, it sounds like this could be very difficult in terms of finding his remains.
Yes, that's the sad part of all of this. That is correct. He did confess to these, we will call them fake inmates, that he did kill baby Emmanuel and that he threw him in the trash can at his home.
You notice, I think why they believe this, or maybe believing this, is because he didn't give this inmate the bull crap, right? The bull crap that he was sleeping and rolled over. He admitted to, from what we're hearing here, murdering his son and throwing his son in the garbage can, which is much different than what he told law enforcement. Thank you, Lisa B. Always. 15 months, she says. Hashtag Katie Proudfoot. Where is Sebastian Rogers? Amen to that. Amen to that. I believe Katie, as well as hashtag Christopher Proudfoot, knows exactly where Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is and has always been.
Approximately a week before Rebecca Haro even stated that the baby was missing. So
a week before. Okay, breaking news, folks. Breaking news. Breaking news. He admits to the informant in his jail that he murdered this boy. It happened a week or more before this child was reported missing, which, I don't know if August 10th. I don't know. We might have to look at that. And that he threw the child in the garbage can. Let's listen to that again, folks. Breaking news. Breaking news. Let's listen to this again. Actually, let me go back so we can. I'm gonna shut my pie hole.
Many defendants over the years.
So this was a fake inmate who he told reportedly that that he killed baby Emmanuel and then put baby Emmanuel into a trash can. Um, do we, I'm just thinking about waste management and all the trash cans and the landfill. I mean, it sounds like this could be very difficult in terms of finding his remains.
Yes, that's the sad part of all of this. That is correct. He did confess to these, we will call them fake inmates, that he did kill baby Emmanuel and that he threw him in the trash can at his home, uh, approximately a week before Rebecca Haro even stated that the baby was missing. So
approximately a week. So 4 days would be, I think it would be approximate. 4 or 5 days. I think that would be approximate. Yeah, I think that would be approximate. So now, what say you, folks? What say you? We have two different theories. One he told law enforcement, and the other he told these inmates. I don't know if you caught that. It wasn't an inmate. It sounds like they infiltrated several of these people in there. Maybe one person got out and they threw another person in there to see if they could get the same confession. Possibly. I believe he confessed to the inmate. I'm kind of believing that too, because it does go in, because we talked about the garbage. We talked about him being thrown in the garbage literally at the beginning of this case. And I was thinking that he, at least the mother wasn't this involved. And so those initial, moments, I was still on the vein of, Rebecca being the battered wife, which she is, but she allowed herself to be battered and she probably has a substance problem, and it allowed her to not care or not protect her son. She is as responsible as the father in this situation, and she's been given multiple times to confess and just tell the truth for her son, the child she gave birth to. And she's so in love with her man, she doesn't even care about her own boy. I'm sorry, any woman that is capable of doing that doesn't deserve to be around us. She is a threat to our society. She is a threat to our society. And what do we do? I don't know. It's possible, because of the power equipments we heard, it's possible. I don't know. Because I believe that was that there is a possibility of that being associated with this case, Brokenhearted. But with the garbage, now that we know that he could possibly have been in you notice I'm saying possibly, because I really don't believe, I believe that this is more probable, but I'm still not, I just don't trust Jake. I don't know what games he's playing, but he is in my opinion, a hardened criminal. He's been able to hurt babies for decades. His son is 15, 16, and he beat him when he was a baby. So we got, a long history of this man being this abusive a-hole, and he's been able to keep himself under the radar and out of jail. So it's very clear he's very cunning, conniving, a very cunning and conniving person. So it makes it very difficult for me to ever believe him, because I truly believe he's a narcissist and a pathological liar. But I think that him thinking he's talking to anybody other than a police officer, I think that after the conversations and stuff, I think he probably needed to get some things off of his chest. But I'm not sure if I believe, yes, Rod, he's the boogeyman. I'm not sure if I believe, Is it possible with a garbage can? You know, I have to say yes, because if it wasn't a probability, I would have never brought it up at the beginning of the case. And I did misjudge him, and I misjudged her at the beginning of the case. So now that we know who they are, would I assess that they would probably take the route of garbage? Yeah. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. So but what would he have done before he threw the baby in the garbage? What would cause the massive amount of blood? Going back to your question of dismemberment, I think that's the only thing that makes sense to produce the amount of blood that was exhibited, or what we're hearing was exhibited inside the home. So he may have, oh good gracious. Oh, my mind just went someplace very, 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 very disturbed. Because you guys know I processed this and I'm playing it through. He would have been smart enough to remove any identifiable markers. Fingertips. Yeah, I think there's still a possibility of the dismemberment. God blessed. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think there's a, because I don't know how we're going to explain the blood. I mean, turn your volume up. I'm not sure how we're going to explain the blood. I think the only way we can explain the blood is either this child was stabbed, shot, or dismembered. I mean, I don't see it. I don't see there being any other path going forward, because he is a beater, a child shaker, a one thing he's not that we've never heard, even though we did 2024, he was with substances and a firearm and stuff like that. Could he have lost his stuff and got his hand on another firearm? Yeah, but they did a search of his house, and we heard floors were taken out, not walls. And why do I say walls? Because typically when you're shooting off firearms, the bullets get lodged in the walls, and we're not hearing that. So in order to find the blood, one of two things would have had to happen. He would have literally had to use his hands and fist, or he had to have shaken, strangled, did what he did to his other children. I would have to say that would be his MO. And that wouldn't have produced the massive amount of blood. So we still have to figure out where the blood came from. Renee says, I forgot. When did they shop for the saw? The date, I don't know. As a matter of fact, this would be a great segue into tomorrow's show. Just for everybody here that's here, we got 809 people in the chat right now. Tomorrow's show, we're going to build the timeline. I think tomorrow's show, we're going to, so I need you guys to start looking at those times. We're not just going to be putting dates and times into an Excel spreadsheet. We're actually going to design an actual timeline that can be shared with other people. It's something that we can all put together. I don't know the specific dates, but this will be a great opportunity for the researchers in here to start figuring out dates of certain things. We do have some certain dates, like August 3rd, pawn shop, August 5th, funeral. We've got, we got certain things that we can plug in that we know fluently, but there are some nuances that are I'm going to be even putting the theories in this timeline, but they're going to be in a different color print, so we know that these are theories we need to look at. And as those theories, as information comes forward and those theories are no longer theories, like timeline theories, like they could have been here, like say the sanctuary church, we've never got confirmation that they truly were in that area at that date and time. Only, a passerby that believes he saw them, which, at this point, I believe the public around there, after learning how much smaller their area is. So yeah, I believe it could have been them that they saw, but we don't have any factual confirmation it was them. So that would be on, the timeline as a possibility. So that would be in a different font or a different color print, identifying that as a speculation versus a factual statement. So I think that will be good for tomorrow. But I don't remember the date, but this will be a good time. If people do remember the date, make sure you mark it down. General says, thoughts on my super chat above. Did I miss one? Hold on a second. Did I miss one? Oh, I did. Okay, I apologize for that. I am so sorry. You didn't need to put a $2 by. If you guys do put something in the chat and I happen to miss it, usually I do catch them at the end, but I don't want to have to make you wait to the end for me to address it. Please let one of my mods know. They could text me or get my attention somehow to let me know that I need to look at something, that I missed something. So General says, silver lining in this, everyone save the 2-year-old from a horrid future. I agree with that. We do find silver linings, just like Summer Wells. We believe she saved her brothers. This one is, I believe, she didn't just, no, I think she saved more than the 2-year-old child. I think she saved future abuse as well. Because these two people are behind bars. They're not going to be able to procreate again. They're not going to be able to abuse another child again. We've seen them go unchecked for years. Look at both of them. They both have multiple children that they have damaged. These two people have damaged almost a dozen children between the two of them. I think it's more like 10, but it's close to a dozen children. These two people have ruined the lives of almost a dozen children. Okay? And trust me, he's 31 with all these children. She's, 41 or 32 or whatever. They're 9 years apart. She has all these children too. They just kept procreating and hurting, procreating and hurting on both sides of the family. Hers wasn't so much physical abuse to her children. It was emotional abuse, just not loving them, which sometimes is more detrimental to especially little girls than the actual physical abuse. What did I do for my mom not to love me? The same thing Sebastian was telling his counselors. He feels like his mother hates him. Pretty sad that any child feels that. No child should feel that. But yes, I do agree with you, General. Absolutely, the silver lining, without a doubt, has to be the saving of the 2-year-old and the futures, because we know that these two people would procreate again and probably beat another child into either a coma or death. So I'm glad I'm glad both of them are off the street. I don't want to see Rebecca again. Okay? I'm sorry. I have no respect for her. She did horrible things. It's one thing to be a violent person and not give a crap about anybody's well-being or life like Jake, but to sit there and watch the monster do his work and sit idly by and only have a black eye, she makes me sick. She really does. She makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. He was such a perfect baby. Perfect. There was not one thing wrong with this baby. He was happy. He had those beautiful brown eyes in that cream-colored or white-colored onesie, reaching up to the sky. A beautiful, perfect baby. And look at him. His face is flippin' deformed. And his family, his grandma and auntie. I'd love to see you ladies. I'd love to tell you just how this Christian lady feels about both of you. Sickening. He's got a lazy eye. You lied. Sylvia, whatever the flip your name is. You lied. You knew this baby His head has hit. How many times has his head hit the wall? How many times has Sylvie or his mother, Jake's mother, seen him get rough with these kids? They knew this man. Out of all people, the mother and sister know this man. You make me sick. You make me sick. I would not pity you, nor would I shame anybody out there if they decided to protest both at their houses. Everybody stood idly by and let this child be abused. They make me sick. They make me sick. Yeah, they got the right people, but all the ancillary people, don't tell me they didn't know. Don't tell me they didn't know. You can't convince me. That grandma, when she was out there, was too blessed cold. Jake's mom? I have video of her. I didn't show it yesterday. I may have to go back and pull it up. But I had video of his mother. His mother is cold as ice. No expression. It's her grandson. Her grandson, and she is not. She's just like, let me just come up here and talk to you guys so I don't look like I'm not saying anything. Sick. All right, guys, that's really all I have. Well, no, I think I got something else here. What else do I got? No, I think that's it. I do have Fat and Opinionated. Hold on, let me put this up here. This is something that I saw in Fat and Opinionated. I obviously put it here because I didn't see him anywhere else.
Eastvale has entered the chat. Costco in Eastvale has obtained footage and turned it over to the Riverside County Sheriff's deputies. And there is footage of Emmanuel. There is footage of Jake Haro. There is footage of Rebecca. And there is footage of the entire family at the Costco in Eastvale. And Emmanuel was present. So that tells me that the third has left the chat now.
So he's now saying that now that there's been video evidence confirming, that means proof of life, we no longer believe that this child was deceased back on August 3rd. It sounds like August 10th was the last time that this child, so far. Now this is up for, we don't know what else is going to come out, but it sounds like we have a proof of life for Emmanuel on August 10th. He was reported missing on August 14th. So now we're down to a 4-day window. Okay? The 10th, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, and what happened the 14th. Okay? And because it was so late in the 14th, it had been 5 days from the time that we now know as the last proof of life so far. Now, there may be something else that comes forward. But the last proof of life. Now, remember, yes, and somebody's bringing up the baby stroller, Annie's. We have to remember she was also seen out on the 12th in that area. So now we're honing in and getting a little more close to what we believe may have happened and what his date of death is. So we went from an 11-day spread to now we're down to a 5-day spread. So we've knocked it half of the time out, which is good. So now we're starting to hone in on specific times. So if anybody has seen Rebecca or Jake or the baby from August 10th to August 13th or August 14th, I'd have to think that he was gone by the 12th at minimum if they were seen out at the church, but we haven't seen them on camera. Nobody's confirmed other than one passerby that said that they believe they saw them. So that's one person. That's not even corroborated. Okay, it's not that. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying I don't believe the people. Okay, I'm not saying that, but I'm also having to look at this from an evidentiary standpoint. There's no evidence, and there's only one eyewitness, or maybe even two that were together at the time, but there's nobody corroborated, no other person behind them that's not associated with them saying the same thing that I've heard Ahmed, reference. So it's not that I don't believe him, and I do believe them. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's not corroborated. What would corroborate it is another person coming forward that's unaffiliated with the first two, saying they also saw the same thing, or camera footage along that roadway that shows that they were truly in Rebecca and Jake's vehicle. That would corroborate that. So that's the only thing. So we do have that, and it is possible that they were seen over there. But now we know, but that was on the 12th with the stroller. And now we're hearing the 10th from the Costco's. So could he have lost his life between the 10th and the 12th? We might be holding down on some timing here. Because I do believe that they were there at the sanctuary church, but nothing has really confirmed that to be true. So it's hard, so we can only theorize. We can't factually state, and I'd like to factually state. I hope it looked to me, and this is just my opinion, it looked to me like Rebecca realized for the first time, like I felt like I saw the light bulb above Rebecca's head in court yesterday. I could be totally off base with this, and maybe I'm wishfully thinking, but I feel like there was a light bulb that went off on Rebecca's head when she looked over and realized how cold stone he was. And I feel like for the first time the mask was taken off of her eyes. And I feel like she might be a little more cooperative now, knowing that Jake is doing, is trying to cooperate and throw her under the bus. Tara says, disclaimer, I don't hate anyone with different religious, just that there are radicals out there and they do exist in these cases sometime. It is possible. But I have a funny feeling what we're going to ultimately find out, potentially. I don't know if this is true or not, but I think what we're going to ultimately find out through the trial and ordeal is that both of these people were on substances, pretty strong substances. It made them a lot more volatile than they normally are. Something happened, an altercation happened, which caused Jake to explode, beat his wife, beat his baby, and, ultimately here we are. I believe he has previously beaten his wife. I believe that the injuries she sustained were for substances. They didn't have substances. She goes into the pawn shop with all this stuff just to try to get all this money. And I truly believe they were selling this stuff to support their habit, not buy equipment to bury their son. Things are starting. I told you that there's something here. There feels like there's this substance undertone with this family and this household. I didn't know if it was dealing, because it was a $300,000 home and didn't appear that anybody was working. I definitely wasn't thinking that they were utilizing the substances. But again, this is where I need to be a little more, and I'm going to make mistakes when I'm analyzing these things or forgetting, this or not equating that or something like that. But the drug factor was into my scenario. It just wasn't in the context that it may truly be, where he's not the man. He might be going to the man. It sounds like he might be no different than the people out here on these streets. He just happened to have a mom and a stepdad that gave him a place to live to be a piece of garbage at, instead of being out on the streets. I truly believe when you have children on substances and you don't know what to do, tough love is the best way. You can't keep enabling them. The only way you're going to get your child sober is not giving them everything that they need because you're scared that they're going to lose their life. If you truly want to make a change in your child's life, you got to be able to tell them, look, I'm done. If you want to fall to the bottom, you want to go straight to rock bottom, then go straight to rock bottom. A lot of parents have had to, but you're either going to watch them slowly die or get them help. At some point, they're going to want help for themselves, hopefully. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's always easy, giving advice than it is taking advice. And it's always a lot easier, people make it a lot easier than it truly is. And we have to remember that. And I'm not trying to make light of it.
That tells me that Emmanuel was alive on the 10th. My constituent who said that she was distraught over at Yucaipa trying to walk behind the sanctuary church, that was on the 12th. And so the time he very well may.
So I mean, it's possible, guys. It could go just like this. They were out that day with their family at Costco's, much like Sebastian Rogers had a normal day, but something went off at the house when they went back. And maybe, just maybe, the child, because we always kind of felt that Emmanuel probably didn't succumb to his injuries immediately because of the progressive abuse that poor little baby has underwent since his birth. And like Strategic Eyes believes that he just slowly, started going until he was gone. So maybe some altercation happened on the 10th or the 11th, and he succumbed to his injuries, and by the 12th, they needed to get him out of the house, and they were seen over at Sanctuary Church trying to dump him. And maybe they were too nervous to dump him, and they decided to ultimately bag him up and throw him into their garbage can. We do not know. What we do know is they tried to wash a stroller, which I find ironic that Ahmed has this story that people say that they saw two people walking with a stroller, and then how ironic it is to then talk to a person at a car wash saying that Rebecca and Jake actually tried to take their truck with the stroller in the back of the truck through the car wash. And even further stated, don't worry, well, it needs to be washed anyways. They were too lazy to go into one of those stalls, get out of their truck, and use the pressure cleaner so they could get it cleaned. They wanted to just roll it through a car wash that just came down and washed everything. They're freaking lazy. So I think that that's one of the reasons why they made so many mistakes, is because they weren't very smart about this, and they weren't taking into consideration all the cameras and all the people that remembered them.
They
Thank
have
you, guys.
been taken out from the 10th, the 11th, or the 12th. I would say the 11th, because it gave them time to try to think about where they wanted to dispose of the little body. And we have obtained new Google images, and I cannot confirm if these images are true, but we did post them on our social media outlets, and in fact it shows a tunnel in the Badlands, Highway 60 westbound, right before the Gilman Springs exit.
Wow, so they're thinking that he's also not believing their story. What does it say? Okay, Betty, what if in the stroller they had a fake baby doll instead of Emmanuel? Oh, for the Costco thing. Well, I'd have to think that they picked they would believe that. I have to think that they must have had the baby on their hip, or carried the baby where the baby was visible at some point and sitting up in an erect position, because I'd have to think that would be. But you know what? You're right. I mean, how do we not know? I'm speculating here because they've never addressed whether it could be a fake child or baby doll in, the stroller. So I would have to believe, for them to make that determination that Emmanuel truly was there, is that the cameras physically picked up Emmanuel being either carried or seen by video versus just being pushed around a stroller. I don't think they're going to buy that if they didn't see the child, because law enforcement didn't buy them when they said that their child was out at the field, at the football field, but nobody saw the child out of the football field. And their excuse was they kept the child had not had the vaccinations or the COVID shot or something like that. And so they didn't want their baby around people. That was the excuse that they gave as to why nobody saw them. And we all believed that was a lie. So I don't know. I'd have to think that in order for them to say that Emmanuel was seen with the family at Costco's, I would have to think that he was physically seen at Costco's. Just my personal opinion of the situation. All right, I wanted to go back through here. Thank you all that provided super chats and super stickers. Thank you, Pat. Serenity says, who else previously said they rolled up on a child and when they woke up the child was dead, but it was a lie? There's been a few, in my opinion. This is not uncommon because, in all fairness, there have been many babies that parents put in the bed with them and fell asleep and rolled on top of them and suffocated them. It happens so much that if I'm not mistaken, in some states, it is a crime to sleep in bed with your child. It's considered negligence, and I think they charge people that way now. They didn't used to charge people, but then now they do. So, and I know that because I've witnessed somebody being charged, like the lady I told you. They didn't charge her in the first case, but by the second case they absolutely did. Melanie says, always good to be here, Betty. You do great work getting information on all these missing children. Much love. Thank you, my love. Our beautiful Sonia up in the chat. And she is, sorry, I have to move back up to where you are, and I don't know where. There you are. Show BHB some love by hitting the thumbs up. It's free to say thank you. I appreciate that. Polly says, so many children being murdered and disappeared. It's heartbreaking. Absolutely. We got North Carolina girl Renee says, Betty, possibly Jake lied to the informant also, and I absolutely would not put it past him. I don't think that would surprise anybody in the chat that he's a liar. I think he is a compulsive liar. I truly do not believe this man can help himself. Lisa B. always saying, Katie Proudfoot, where is Sebastian? It's been 18 months. Aw, Cynthia, it's nice to see you, love. Everyone has a past. It's what you do in your future that matters. I missed you. Oh my gosh, thank you. I love that. That goes to our positive affirmations. I love it. General says, silver lining in this, everyone saved the 2-year-old from the horrid future. You know what breaks my heart though, General, and I didn't say this the first pass by your comment, is what has she been subjected to? Because every one of his children have been abused. And I just look at that beautiful little precious face of his sister, baby M, and it just breaks my heart because I keep thinking she survived, but what did she survive? North Carolina girl Renee says, I forgot, when did they shop for a saw? I know it was in days preceding that, and I think that's going to be a good question for our timeline. We might want to look into that. I don't know if I ever remember hearing a specific date, but I did hear that they went to like Do It Best and Home Depot and maybe another store looking for power equipment, but I don't recall if I ever heard or remembered hearing a date when that happened. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure if anybody said a date, it would have been Ahmed. He's pretty good about keeping the dates and making sure that we know the dates that these things that he's finding out happen. Oh, Veronica, be true. Thank you. Look at what I wrote in chat, please. Oh, okay. Sorry. And I don't know when this one came. Can you give me just a second? Hold on. I think I've got just a couple more Hold tight, Veronica. Hold tight. Frank It Up says, I want to be part of the cool crew. I want to be part of the cool crew, even though he's been part of the family forever. Or she's been part, I don't know, since you've been part of the family forever. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room and welcome aboard. But you've already been here. And then I clearly must have missed several people's comments. I am truly sorry. It's a live show, and I believe at the time we had almost 900 people in here, so please show me a little grace. I'd greatly appreciate it. CPS wanted to see both children in person. Interesting. Did they have CPS in their world as well? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Now, going back to Veronica B. Always. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do, Veronica, and I'm truly, truly, truly sorry for doing this to you, but now would be the time to put your question back into chat at the bottom, because I have a funny feeling I am not going to be able to find your question unless one of, actually, you know what? I think my mods have a tool that they might be able to see your question. Mods can, let me just assign. Sonia, are you still in here? If you're still in here, can you go and look at Veronica B. Truly's question and maybe screenshot it and send it to me so I can answer her question? I'm so sorry for missing it. I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure I can do it, but I don't know how. Thank you. But I definitely don't want to miss. In my opinion, all the children were being firmly I firmly believe it starts with the baby formula. That there's got to be ingredients to make people turn nuts. You know what? I mean, I don't know what's going on with our children. I sent you an email. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Veronica. Let me just look here. Sorry about that. There it goes. Here are the pictures from video, TikTok, I don't know. Ooh. Where is this from? Video on TikTok. Sorry, I got it off of him. Okay, so I'm seeing a piece of paper here, and it says help, but I'm not understanding what I'm looking at here. Outside of a piece of paper with scribble on it, and I'm not making, I'll have to analyze this. Thank you for sending it to me. Thank you. What is this? Oh, thank you. And it says, let me go back up there because it cuts it off. I'll have to figure out how to fix that. I don't believe the rollover story. In my opinion, the baby is too old. Good point. He would make a lot of noise struggling to breathe. He's not a newborn. They would, yeah. Great point. Great and valid point. I appreciate that. That is true. That is true. Much harder, you know, but I don't believe anything Jake says. I think the garbage can, someone walked behind her. Oh, is this the piece of paper that was thrown in the bushes? Because if it's like help me and this is the little piece of paper that was scribbled on that is that what I'm understanding? I mean, I could be wrong, but is that what I'm understanding? That this might be the piece of paper that was discarded by Rebecca? Yes, okay. And so but see, the problem is this says like help me or something on it. And if it's to help her, then when she finally got help and was taken into custody, she should have been asking and begging for help. But she stuck with her story. So I'm interested about that piece of paper. We all watched her discard it. We showed it on here. Let me analyze it. Let me look at that. Thank you, Lisa B. Veronica B. True. Sorry, something just rolled off my tongue. Thank you, Veronica. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll look at it and see what I can make at it. I may have to print it out and look at it a little bit closer. So let me see if I can kind of clean the image up a little bit and make heads or tails of what the help me or help. There's definitely something on here, but I'd like to speak to whoever picked this up to find out where they picked it up at, to make sure somebody's not trying to pass around misinformation for the 15 minutes of fame. I just don't know. And I've got to always, put that in the back of my mind because of what the kind of work we do, and we know how people are deceptive and deceiving, and this is a child, and people like to rock the boat, cause whatever. You guys see it over and over again when we cover stories on these missing babies. So let me check it out, let me look at it, and I'll definitely get back with you. Let me finish listening to Ahmed, and this is going to be it, and then we're closing out the show, folks.
On the Tita, homie, where the cadaver dogs entered the chat, we all seen it where Jake Haro was in the red jumpsuit in the Badlands. Okay, so I went back to the Badlands last night because my constituents did tell me that there was a lot of activity involving, Caltrans or construction. So I went down there and I did see what they seen. People thought it was police activity, but then it ended up being construction.
Yeah, there are some construction workers that run equipment at night, especially in those back, when they don't want to run them during the day, or they have something going on, just running the business 24/7 and just trying to get a job done. It's possible. So let's just keep listening and see if there's any other new information here. But I think this is kind of it.
A new theory saying that it was probably the police. It was probably the police dressed as construction so that fools like me and you will not stop, because we all know what happened at the fiasco of the search and rescue where...
Actually, he's true. Would they be out there in equipment looking like construction workers as an op to kind of tone down some of the onlookers? Yeah. They would. I had an FBI agent follow me around Chris and Katie's neighborhood while I was there. He was in a FedEx truck. But I identified him quickly. Well, one, it's not my first time being followed by the FBI in one of these cases. And two, it was very obvious. See, they didn't try to hide it too much. I mean, he took we know how FedEx people are. They go to the back of the truck, they grab the item, they run it up to the door, they come back to the truck, because those are all stacked in order. There's no reason for an officer to be, or a FedEx driver to be out in front of your house for 10 solid minutes, okay? It just doesn't work like that, especially with the backup and then them fiddling around in the back of the truck. Okay, that does not happen in FedEx, okay? I'm sorry, I know their logistics are a lot better than somebody sitting up and to park right in front of... I mean, I turned the camera around and said, guys, I kind of think this is a Fed. This is a Fed. And then, I don't know, it was like a week or two later, we get an article about the Feds using FedEx as cover and FedEx loaning them, trucks. And it was like somebody sent it to me and said, Betty, I think you were right. And I'm like, I know I was. I even turned the camera and I said, look at this. There's no way he's waiting here that long, because I was in the cul-de-sac and I'm actually eyeballing this FedEx driver, and he keeps screwing around with the back of the truck and kind of, making sure he kind of steps out into the road as he's messing around in the back. And I'm like, he's watching me. He's watching me. Yeah, FedEx drivers take breaks. Yeah. No. They take breaks, but they're not taking breaks in private communities. I'm sorry. I don't think they're allowed to. They can take breaks at gas stations and stuff, but taking breaks in front of somebody's house? Yeah, nah. I've never seen that. If somebody has ever seen a FedEx driver literally on a lunch break or anything in a private community on a cul-de-sac, please send me a photo of that. You can send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Yeah, the FBI, Dex, LOL. Yeah. Regular drivers dead here 10 minutes in my yard rearranging packages. I don't know. With me in town, you think a FedEx driver is going to follow me down the streets, and then when I decided to stop at a cul-de-sac and get out and take a picture, he just happens to stop his truck right there for 10 minutes? Guys, come on. No. I'm telling you. That was a Fed. I felt safe. I mean, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I mean, I know why they were there or why they were watching me. I mean, I'm Bullhorn Betty. They don't know if I'm gonna, bring in a freaking recliner in front of somebody's house with my bullhorn. Okay, so they're a little concerned when Bullhorn Betty comes into town. But I promise you, Feds, if you guys want me to call you, all you gotta do is just call me. Say, Betty, you give us heartburn every time you come in town. Can you just give us a heads up? And I'll be happy. I'll call the Feds up and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be here. Okay? I promise I'll be good. I won't break the law. I don't break the law anymore. I used to break the law every chance I got. But, I don't break that. But for all of the people out there, I'm not a felon. I think the longest time I stayed in jail was like 36 hours to be processed. I think that was it. Like, I'm not a hardened criminal over here, okay? I'm a rough, tough cream puff. I had a substance abuse problem and an attitude, okay? Those combinations didn't mix, okay? I got myself into a lot of trouble, but not that much trouble. A little bit of trouble, okay? I got myself into a little bit of trouble consistently for about 10 years, okay? That's that's the extent. But I got a lot of street education, okay? I got some street education, so I'm now well versed. Not only do I have a book education, I got some street knowledge. I'm well rounded here. I can gangbang now on the streets if I wanted to. I just get my shorts and my wig and I'm going there, right? Oh, good gracious. I need to stop. I remember one time I was so pissed off. I was walking because I can't remember what happened to my car. My car was either broke down or something like that. I never really had broke down cars, but there was a time that somebody borrowed my car and burn up my clutch. So there was some times. But anyways, I was walking to a bar and I was walking on this one road that's kind of the red light district. I probably knew better, right? And I remember this. I certainly do. I do remember this. And so I'm trying to get to this bar. And I remember somebody pulling over and wanting me to, and I looked at him. I said, "Are you freaking dumb?" And he goes, "What?" I said, "You're going to try to pull up here with somebody looking like me." I said, "I'm wearing Harley Davidson shoes." I said, "What woman on this road is wearing Harley Davidson shoes?" I said, "I'm either a cop or not interested." I said, "Are you stupid or what?" Leave me alone. That was kind of my thing. People are stupid. Why are you picking up strangers? Like, what is wrong with you? I could have been a murderer. Yeah, show me that. And show me all the cash you got in your as I'm holding Junior hostage, right? As I'm holding Junior hostage. Like, come on, people. Quit being I don't understand, and I know it's only gotten worse. So I'm gonna shut up.
There, people were down near crashing on the freeway. People were down near pulling over to get all up in the mix. That the California Highway Patrol had to, take extra measures to try to keep everybody safe.
I don't know about you all, but I am so relieved that law enforcement has this footage now.
And, I am too. So we have a proof of life. If you guys haven't been over to Fat and Opinionated, please go over, sub him up. If you haven't been over to Ahmed's, go over and sub him up. Strategic Eyes, we talked about him. We talked about Matt Thibodeau. These are people that I'm constantly and consistently watching daily. So if you're not also watching them daily, you might be missing a lot of information. But don't worry, if you miss a lot of information, Bullhorn Betty has it right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. I hope everybody has a wonderful hump day. Happy hump day. What day it is? It's hump day. as you guys slide into your weekend. So just want to tell you guys, have an amazing day. This is not going to be the last show we do today. I don't know what our show is going to be on. I know we have some things going on with Sebastian Rogers. His father's out in front of Sumner County. He's tired of the lies. He just wants help. He wants law enforcement to work for him, not against him. But all too much, they are too busy protecting Chris and Katie Proudfoot, and nobody can understand why they continuously protect Chris and Katie Proudfoot. And many of us believe that there's plenty of evidence that they are looking at, they're just not wanting to see. I truly believe that they are intentionally stopping this because they're mad at Seth. They're mad at me. We've made them look like the embarrassment that they are. And so law enforcement is throwing a temper tantrum because, like I said, they keep measuring the size of their pee-pee. Well, I can promise you I wear pretty big kahunas, okay? And we don't have peeing contests over here. We advocate for victims of crime. And if we do not have law enforcement doing the same thing, then it's time for them to move on. They are a disgrace and a danger to their community. Sheriff Snuggle Struggle is a fish out of water. He is incompetent. He has no education. He has no experience with cases like this. And granted, Sumner County doesn't always have cases like this, and maybe had this case not come around, we wouldn't have seen all that we have seen in that county. But this case did come around, and we have seen all that we have seen in that county. We now truly know about the Good Old Boys Club in that county. We do know that they are not below committing crimes themselves. A sheriff's department lying under oath on affidavits. I know firsthand. Now remember, if I'm lying, they can come after me for defamation. Right? They won't. Why? Because what I'm saying is true, and I can prove it. Because I got Lisa Byington's signature on a false and lied affidavit with my name on it, and can prove it. So in Sumner County, we have law enforcement that doesn't mind breaking the law. That's problematic when we have them and need them to enforce the law. And then we go all the way to California, that always gets a bad name. Always. California is right now, they're always in the news. We all know that. They're always in the news. They always get this bad rap. And look at the quality of investigation out of the state of California versus Tennessee. Tennessee should be embarrassed. But God bless Emmanuel for actually getting law enforcement that gave a damn. Now, if we can just encourage Sumner County to do the same, we might be able to actually have justice for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. It's up to them. But I have a funny feeling this is only the beginning of something that they don't want. Because they may deal with, their hip-hop people out there. The lady that went out there had us 1 million followers on Instagrams screaming corruption. But that was a day. You don't understand the true crime community because we will be there for days, weeks, months, whatever it takes. And we have proved it because we have been going strong for 18 months. Everybody needed a break because we were dealing with a corrupt county. A corrupt county that was literally intimidating people trying to help Seth. Why would any sheriff be intimidating the public away from a case when they should be promoting the case because it gets them more resources? They just got down $200 million. They might be able to get some resources from the states by promoting this case, but they don't want to. Why? What is Feds going to find in Sumner County that Sumner County is pushing them out? That's what I'd like to know. How corrupt and how deep-seated is the corruption in Sumner County? It's a legitimate question because there's a 15-year-old boy, now 16, that's going without justice because of the crap going on inside that county. Well, YouTuber, you know what, Summer Wells, we knew we were in a corrupt county, and we're never going to get justice for her until they get the piece of shit sheriff out of that county. There's too much corruption in these small backwood counties of Tennessee, and I'm getting sick and tired of it. And if I roll into your county, you better watch out, and your books better be in perfect shape, because we'll find out. You guys think that we can't get our hands on it because you guys try to limit what the rest of the world knows about your crappy state. Not crappy state, politically crappy state, politically criminal state. I love you people in Tennessee. I'm sorry for you, okay? I'm sorry that you're not getting the representation that you deserve. I'm really sorry about that. But let's face it. I mean, they are not doing anything. They're not doing anything to move the needle. All of these small little backwood counties have corruption out the wazoo. I mean, what county keeps the sheriff that got his son off for diddling with kids? Throws the guy that has the photos in jail for 8 years, but the one that was actually engaging in the diddling, his son, gets out of jail in 6 months? And then these assholes in frickin' Hawkins County vote him back into office. I can't fix that kind of stupid, okay? I just can't. So until the community, which the community obviously too busy with their heads up their ass, no offense, but you know, I'm not here to be nice. I'm here to be effective. But if you guys are going to keep voting that crap, then you deserve what you're getting. And when it becomes your kid and you're sitting there scratching your head saying, why isn't my case getting solved? Why isn't my child home? Well, just remember that corrupt sheriff that you voted in after you knew he was corrupt. I'm just saying. Just saying, not playing, baby. Half holy, half hood means you can pray with me, but don't play with me, baby. All right, guys, you guys have an amazing day. We have a lot. We're not fat and opinionated, but we're definitely opinionated. We're fluffy and opinionated. Just saying. We're fluffy and opinionated. I'm just saying. Cinema Shogun. It's fluffy. Just saying. You're not fat and opinionated. You're fluffy and opinionated. Because we know deep inside that hard shell is ooey gooey, Cinema Shogun. We know it's ooey gooey in there. All right, guys, you have a great day. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and share this video on your way out. God bless each and every one of you.